I think we've all felt it, right? That kind of feeling that you're working so hard but not really getting anywhere, like you're stuck on this, I don't know, a financial treadmill, that whole rat race thing.
Yeah, it's really common. And you know what? It's not just about hating your job.
Yeah.
It's more about this feeling of being like trapped by your finances, constantly chasing that next paycheck or promotion, always thinking that next thing is what'll finally make you happy and secure, you know?
It is interesting, though, because we always hear about people making pretty good money, but they're still barely making ends meet.
Exactly.
It's like this myth that if you just earn enough, all your problems are solved.
Yeah, and that's where that whole rat race idea really clicks, doesn't it? Think about those experiments, with rats running around a maze.
Oh, yeah.
They're always trying to get the reward, but never actually getting anywhere.
Just going in circles.
Totally. A lot of people, that's exactly how they feel with their finances. Working and spending, but no real progress on their goals.
It's like you're on a hamster wheel, just running and running.
Yep.
But how do we actually define the rat race? It feels like one of those terms everyone throws around, but maybe doesn't always truly understand.
It definitely has become almost like a cliche.
Yeah.
But the main idea, I think, is this feeling of being trapped by your circumstances, especially the financial ones.
Right.
It's like your stuff, your debts, your whole lifestyle, it ends up owning you instead of the other way around.
Whoa. That makes me think of that line from Fight Club. The things you own end up owning you. Crazy how our stuff can have so much control over us.
It's a great point, and it really shows the mental side of this whole rat race thing. It's not just the job itself. It's that stuck feeling, no choices, always chasing something that feels just out of reach.
And it doesn't even have to be about work either, right? Like a student who's always got to get perfect grades but never feels good enough, that's kind of like a rat race too.
You're totally right. It really comes down to chasing something outside yourself without ever feeling content. The rat race, it can look different for everyone, but that trapped feeling that's always there.
Okay, so we've established that this rat race is more about feeling stuck, this work-spend cycle that never really feels fulfilling.
Right.
But why are we so drawn to it in the first place? What makes us feel so trapped?
Well, there are a bunch of things at play here, and I bet a lot of people listening will relate to this. First up, societal pressure. We're constantly told what success should look like. Good job, big house, fancy car, the whole 9 yards.
That's like we get this checklist when we're kids.
Yeah.
And we're told if we just check everything off, then we'll be happy.
Exactly. And that leads straight into the next thing, consumerism. Everywhere you look, ads are telling us we need the latest gadgets, the newest clothes, the most expensive vacations to be happy. It's like keeping up with the Joneses, but even more intense now with social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Social media just takes that pressure to a whole other level. It's like everyone's trying to show this perfect version of themselves. It's easy to get caught up in comparing yourself.
Right. And then there's work culture itself, the whole hustle mentality, the pressure to always be on, competing for promotions. It all adds to feeling like you're on that treadmill, even if you're making good money.
It's like the more you make, the more you spend, and you never feel like you're getting ahead.
Yeah,
And speaking of which, debt definitely plays a big role in this whole cycle too, doesn't it?
absolutely. Student loans, mortgages, credit card debt, they can make people stay in jobs they hate because they simply can't afford to leave.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Looking to pay off debt that you probably got trying to achieve that successful life we talked about.
Yep, and all of it. Societal pressure, consumerism, work culture, debt, they all mess with our heads, triggering our fear of missing out, fear of uncertainty, even that ostrich effect, avoiding bad financial news because it's just too much.
It's like this perfect storm of pressure from the outside and anxiety from the inside, and it keeps us stuck in this rat race. It's kind of overwhelming when you think about it all at once.
It can be, yeah. But the good news is, just being aware of it is the first step to breaking free. Once you understand what's going on, you can start making choices that actually lead to a more fulfilling life.
Okay, so we've talked about all the pressures and stuff that make us feel stuck in this rat race,
Right.
but how do we actually break free? Like, where do we even start?
Well, the good news is you don't need to win the lottery or, completely change your life overnight.
Okay, good.
It really starts with making small choices, like conscious choices,
Yep.
and being open to changing how you see things.
So it's more about our mindset than actually changing our circumstances.
Exactly. One really important shift is moving away from thinking there's not enough to go around, that scarcity mindset, and start seeing abundance instead. Like instead of believing there's only so much wealth or success, you start seeing tons of opportunities out there.
That's a lot easier said than done, though, right?
Yeah.
Especially with everyone talking about competition and, yeah, scarcity all the time.
It definitely takes practice, but it starts with noticing your own thoughts. Like when you find yourself comparing yourself to others or getting jealous, try to look at it differently. Instead of seeing someone else's success as a threat, see it as proof that you can do it too.
So instead of thinking it's a me versus them situation, you start to see it as like, we're all in this together.
Right. And when you have that abundance mindset, you're naturally more generous, you want to collaborate, and you support others more. You see opportunities instead of roadblocks.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about some practical things we can do to get out of that financially trapped feeling?
One powerful tool is budgeting,
Okay,
but not in the way people usually think about it.
right, like restricting yourself.
Yeah, it's not about deprivation, it's about paying attention to your spending habits, making choices about where your money goes.
So making sure your spending matches your values and what's important to you.
Exactly. It's about seeing where your money is going, noticing those areas where you might be spending without thinking, and then using that money for things that really matter to you.
I think a lot of people hear budget and they just think about limits and all that.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's more about getting control and having freedom.
Exactly. It's not about saying, I can't have nice things. It's about being intentional, making sure your spending lines up with your values and what you want to achieve.
I like that. What about redefining success? It feels like we're always given this very specific definition of success, focused on stuff and what other people think.
Totally. We're constantly shown images of what success should look like. The big house, the fancy car, those crazy vacations. But real success is so much bigger than that.
So how do we even start to redefine success for ourselves?
It all begins with asking yourself some real questions. What truly matters to you? What makes you happy and feel fulfilled? What impact do you want to make in the world?
So it's like, figure out your values and make sure your actions and choices are in line with those values.
Exactly. Maybe success to you is having more time with family, or doing something creative, traveling the world, or making a difference in your community. It's about defining success on your own terms, not based on what someone else says.
I love that. Creating a life that feels real and meaningful to you, not chasing someone else's version of success. But let's be honest, getting out of the rat race isn't just about mindset and budgeting. We got to increase what we're earning too, right? We can't just think our way to financial freedom.
You got it. It's important to work on both sides, managing your spending and growing your income. And one powerful way to do that is to shift your focus from consumption to production.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me more about this production thing.
It's about moving away from just trading your time for money and finding ways to create real value that other people want. Think about it. What skills do you have? What knowledge? What are you passionate about? What could help others?
So instead of just thinking about how much money you make at your job, you think about what you're actually bringing to the table, the value you're creating.
Exactly. It's a small shift in your thinking, but it's really powerful. When you start thinking like a producer, you'll see opportunities everywhere.
So it's like being a problem solver, an innovator, someone who makes a real contribution.
And the coolest part is it can look so many different ways. Maybe it's starting a side hustle, creating a product, offering a service, or finding ways to be even more valuable in your current job.
So it's not about everyone becoming an entrepreneur. It's about finding ways to use your skills and your passions to create something valuable.
That's it. It's about taking charge of your earning potential and creating a life where you feel financially secure and indeed personally fulfilled.
This is inspiring. We're getting into some really powerful stuff here. But before we go any further, I want to hear some real examples of this whole creating value thing in action. I think it would help everyone listening to see how these ideas actually work in real life. So we've talked about changing our mindset to one of abundance, budgeting intentionally, and focusing on producing value, not just consuming it. All great steps to escape that feeling of being trapped. But I'm curious, are there any real-life examples of how people have actually done this?
Oh, definitely. One thing that comes to mind is that whole side hustle trend. More and more people are using their skills and what they're passionate about to create extra income outside of their regular jobs.
Yeah, like the whole creator economy thing, right?
Yeah.
People building audiences online, making money on YouTube or Instagram, even Etsy.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of people getting creative, producing value, and connecting with people who appreciate it. And it's not just online either. I know someone who turned their love of baking into this whole home-based bakery business. Started small, selling at those little farmers markets. Now they have a successful online business.
That's amazing. The internet really has created so many possibilities for people to share what they make. And it's not just about starting businesses either, right?
Yeah.
You can even increase your value within a regular job.
Absolutely. I've seen people change their whole careers by becoming like the expert in a specific part of their field.
Makes sense.
They take online courses, go to conferences, network with other people, and they're always learning and growing.
So it's being proactive,
Yeah,
taking charge of your own career, not just waiting for opportunities to just, fall into your lap.
that's it. And when you become known as the go-to person, you can earn more and have more job security.
Like that saying, become so good they can't ignore you. But this kind of shift takes work, right? It's not like you snap your fingers and suddenly you're a successful entrepreneur or a top expert.
You're right. It takes dedication and being willing to step outside your comfort zone. There will be challenges for sure, but it's so worth it in the end.
Which brings us back to mindset, right? When those challenges come up, it's your mindset that'll decide whether you quit or keep going.
100%. Having a strong, resilient mindset is crucial for escaping the rat race. It's about being okay with discomfort, learning from your mistakes, and believing that you can get through tough times.
So moving from a place of fear to a place of growth and possibility.
Exactly. And another important part of mindset is gratitude. When you're always focused on what you're missing, it's easy to get stuck in this negative cycle, never feeling satisfied.
Like,
But when you take time to appreciate what you already have, it changes how you see things. You feel more content.
it's like that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. When we're always comparing ourselves to others, we miss out on all the good stuff that's already in our lives.
And gratitude doesn't have to be about huge things. It can be as simple as enjoying a nice sunset, a delicious meal, a kind word from someone.
Those little moments of appreciation can really make a difference, huh?
They totally do. They remind us of the good stuff and help us face challenges with a more positive attitude.
So we've covered a lot today, from understanding this whole rat race thing, to finding ways to break free, and most importantly, building a strong and grateful mindset.
It's been a great conversation. I hope everyone listening feels like they can start taking steps, even small ones, toward creating a life that truly feels good and fulfilling.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Start with one small change you can make today and go from there. Maybe it's tweaking your spending, learning something new, or just taking a few minutes to feel grateful. Every step you take brings you closer to a life beyond the rat race.